Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm asking the question, should you be playing with blade golf clubs? What is the advantage of playing with golf clubs? And today I'd like to tell you maybe the three main reasons that golf professionals are playing with blades. If you're thinking about buying yourself a set of blades for Christmas, then there's no better time. We've never had so much choice on the market for blade golf clubs. When I started playing golf, it was really only Mizuno and maybe Miura who were known for making blade golf clubs. And if you now look at the market, all of the major manufacturers are making blades, whether it be Callaway, TaylorMade, even Ping have jumped onto the bandwagon. So the question is, why is there a market even for these golf clubs if they're making life more difficult? The heads are smaller, they're narrower, the center of gravity is higher, it's more difficult to hit the shot. The ball speed is going to be lower because there's no trampoline effect in these things. So I wanted to give you an idea of maybe the three main reasons why a golf professional will choose a blade club over a more forgiving cavity back, and maybe give you the idea of going out on the driving range and trying these things out for yourself so you can get an idea of the feel that's making the golf professional so happy. So irrespective of what club I take here, they're all going to do more or less the same thing. And I think really, with the exception of maybe a slightly thinner leading edge or a slightly shorter face length, you will actually find a lot of similarities, more similarities as with the other clubs if you go from company to company and look at their blade golf clubs. The first thing that a golf professional will always talk about, though, when he talks about a set of blade is feel. The feel that he gets from this forged head, this softer material that the golf ball is impacting with. And usually most people who buy a forged head will also have a steel shaft. And the steel shaft will basically send you this feedback, the vibrations of the impact with the golf ball, to your fingertips so that you can really feel it. Of course, if you hit it in the toe or the heel, you're going to feel that as well. So what in the world could be the advantage of hitting a golf ball with a golf club that just makes things more difficult? The head is smaller, so it's more difficult to hit the center of the club. If I hit it out of the toe or the heel, it's likely to twist in my hand. But that's exactly the reason that the golf professionals are using them. If you hit the ball out of the toe and the heel and you can't feel it, how can you make a change? Now, I understand you might say, well, really it's very difficult to hit the center, so if I'm hitting the toe or the heel, I want as much ball speed and as good a launch angle as I possibly can get. But if you're playing the golf game correctly, you shouldn't really be thinking too much about your technique. And what actually happens is a part of your brain called the cerebellum, the small brain, is actually responsible for coordinating the movement of your golf swing. Without feedback, the cerebellum is incapable of actually telling the distant difference between a centered hit and an off-center hit. So how in the world is it ever going to get the fine coordination correct? So in truth, if you can't feel the difference between a toe hit and a center hit, your subconscious brain, your cerebellum, is incapable of making the fine adjustments that it would need to catch the center of the club every time. And this is basically what the professionals are doing, consciously or unconsciously, when they're playing blade clubs, is they're giving their brain the information that it needs to find the center of the golf club. But that's not the only advantage that a blade club will give you. If you look at the spin numbers on the new forgiving golf clubs, especially the golf clubs with trampoline effect, you will actually see that the spin numbers are lower. Now, this has a number of advantages, especially for a hobby golfer, and the golf ball will actually roll when it lands. And that's probably something that a hobby golfer would like, but not a more advanced golfer. We want the golf ball to stop when it lands on the green and not roll. So it's the carry distances that we're interested in. We want a consistent performance in spin when it comes off the club face. Now, a lot of you might well have heard that if you get grass between the club face and the ball, you can get what we call a flyer. And a flyer is basically less spin on the golf ball, which will actually make it fly further. So golf clubs which are producing less spin will have a more inconsistent flight or carry distance. And this is obviously something that a golf professional really doesn't want. And maybe it's something that's hurting your game. If you are finding that your golf clubs are often giving you flyers, even out of normal fairway conditions, then that could well be because of the low spin that they are generating. And if you get one of these blade irons, you should feel straight away that the golf ball has a slightly different ball flight. A little bit more kind of from up, down to up, this kind of beautiful kind of ascending flight that the spin gives you by creating lift on the golf ball as it spins around its axis. And of course, you will actually find a far more consistent carry distance on a blade iron than you will probably find on a more forgiving club, as long as you're catching it obviously out of the middle of the blade and not the heel or the toe. And as if that wasn't everything, the last thing is really the divot. Now, if you look at the divot and the way that the club actually interacts with the turf, this also has a massive role to play in the feedback you're getting from the golf club and the quality of strike you're getting on the golf ball. A lot of the forgiving golf clubs are engineered with wider soles, and this allows the manufacturers to lower the center of gravity, get the weight under the ball and help it up into the air. If that's what you're looking for, if your ball flight is low, then wow, that's exactly the golf club you ought to be playing. But sometimes you'll have trouble, especially off tight lies with wide soles. The rounding of the sole and the width of the sole can cause the club to bounce as it actually strikes turf and ball at the same time. This narrow sole that you'll find on a blade iron basically allows you to catch the ball cleaner when you come into it. There is less chance of your catching ball and turf together simply because of this very kind of small and narrow sole that is put onto a bladed golf club. Altogether then, you're going to have more feedback and therefore more control over a golf club which is a bladed golf club. You're going to have a better turf interaction on tight lies than you would have with a wide-soled golf club, and the extra spin that you can create with a forged iron with a blade golf club will allow you more control and obviously the ability to shape a shot. Because if you are coming from the outside or the inside intentionally on the ball to give the golf ball another ball flight, then you need the spin to help you. And if there's little spin produced by the golf club, you're going to get little left to right or right to left. Again, an obvious advantage for a hobby golfer, but not for somebody who's trying to play the golf game to a higher standard. What kind of standard of golfer should you be? I hate to really talk too much about handicap, because the handicap is really more a product of your play. So to say you have to have a handicap 9 or 8 or 7 or 5 or 2 before you start playing blade clubs would really be disrespectful really to the golf club. You can learn golf with blade golf clubs. In fact, my first set of irons as a 12-year-old were stiff-shafted Ben Hogan Apex. So if I was able to learn with those, then so can you. But it doesn't make the game any easier, that's for sure. If you are looking to try a set of these golf clubs, then think about these three reasons, because that's the things that you're going to get the benefit, and test them against your own clubs and see how much distance loss are you getting, how much more do they tend to disperse right or left from your target, and is it really worth going into it? But if it is, this is a great time for forged golf clubs. This is a great time for bladed golf clubs, because the choice is out there and there's some really fabulous choices to be made. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And if you hit the little bell, it will give you notifications the next time that I post a video. We'll see you all very shortly. Don't forget my philosophy on golf is up here on the left side to download if you're looking for some bedtime reading on these dark winter nights. I shall see you very shortly. Bye-bye now.